Welcome back, I'm Tedward. Welcome to beautiful sunny Southern California, a much needed reprieve from the 18-degree weather in New England. And welcome to the all-new 2026 Honda Pilot Elite. This is the refreshed version of the tried and true 3-row, 8-seater or up to 8-seater SUV from the Japanese brand that we all know and love. And 3 years ago, I was driving the all-new Honda Pilot in Sedona. Me and Chris Amos went out there. We actually ended up at the Grand Canyon. We took an Acura Integra A-Spec. Very memorable trip. But honestly, one of the things that was most memorable about that trip was just how good and well-rounded the Honda Pilot is. And now, for 2026, we're getting the refreshed version of this vehicle. And while the changes are plentiful, they are not major, but they do add up to an even better package. Now, this is good because if you had huge major changes, then all the people who are the early adopters of this new generation of Pilot might be a little upset. Their resale value may decline if major things occur 3 years later. Then suddenly no one's going to want the lesser vehicles. I don't think that's the case, but I do think that the improvements that have been made on this Pilot are worthy and keep it fresh in the market. So it's going to be top of mind. Now, Honda is really fighting the Koreans right now because the Telluride offers quite a bit. No changes to this power plant, so it's still the same J35 naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 making 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, powering all four wheels. We do have a very trick all-wheel drive system, and for off-road stuff, I know this isn't exactly going to be your off-roader, although you can get a Trail Sport that's going to have that underbody protection. You can bounce it off the rocks if you'd like, but what it can do is it can send up to 70% of its power to these rear wheels, and then up to 100% of that 70% to either side, left or right of the rear wheels. So it really does keep you from getting stuck in most scenarios. Appearance-wise, new for 2026, you get a new grille, you get a new front fascia down here. Now this is different depending if you're in Sport, Elite, or Trail Sport, but all of them have a slightly upgraded fascia, but not so extreme that it sets it apart from the rest of the lineup. I think that Acura with their Integra A-Spec, they put a color match grille on it. That might be a little extreme for Pilot buyers, so I'm glad they didn't do that. In the rear, slightly updated rear fascia as well. Inside, this is where things get good. This is what matters in this vehicle. Now, first of all, it's an 8-seater. So you get 3 rows, you get 3 there, 3 here, and 2 up front. And these are great because there's actually some room to put human beings. Now, there's probably better 3-row SUVs out there, but this is going to do you just fine, especially if you're not usually stacking it with people. But if you had to, you can. And this is great because these are the types of vehicles that people will buy when they're on vacations and they realize, oh man, we don't need to bring 2 cars. We can actually do it with 1. Back here, you've got reasonable storage space, so you can put a bunch of stuff in here and then stack it. And I'm going to show you again, when you do have this up, one thing that a lot of 3-row SUVs suffer from is this space when the 3rd row is up. My GX has almost nothing. It's really difficult to do that. So you could actually put some luggage and things back here with that 3rd row up. Now let's move on to the back seats that you're probably more likely going to be sitting in, because this is a nice place to be. First, this door is super large, very limo style, almost a 90-degree open. And then for 2026, you also get upgraded interiors. You get this quilted micro suede, so that's elevated for sure. And in the higher trim levels, you're gonna get outboard heated seats in the rear, and they have 3 stages. Plus you get your climate controls down here, very nice. Vast panoramic moonroof as we're used to. We like that. But this is a comfy, cozy place to be. I have tons of legroom back here. I would not hesitate to want to spend time back here. And because of all the open airy things, I'm someone who gets car sick in the back of a car. This is going to probably prevent that. Although I wouldn't want to be riding with me on this road today. Before we get into the front, because we're going to spend a lot of time there, I do want to show you under the hood. Yes, we've got a naturally aspirated V6, and I have my hands full right now. But isn't this great that we're not doing a hybrid? We're not doing a turbo. Now, it doesn't have VTEC, but that's okay, but it makes the appropriate amount of power and torque, which is not too little and not too much. Isn't that the Honda way? There's different wheel options, and you can go through all of that, but at the end of the day, the Pilot is still a formidable choice for your family hauler. And for me, I honestly could have gotten away with using this instead of my 4x4 body-on-frame GX. These are also incredibly safe. I've seen the crash test. That B-pillar is a monster. I've seen these where they've been in crash tests and you almost can't tell because the intrusion of a slab of concrete or whatever it is hitting this doesn't even push it in that far, and there's a lot of space between you and that seat. So this is also a safe place for you and your family. And new for 2026 is also post-collision braking. So imagine you get in a terrible accident, you're discombobulated, maybe you're unconscious, the car is still rolling. This will apply the brakes to prevent further accident, further injury, or going off the road into more cars, which we love. Also new for 2026, every trim level gets roof rails, so that wasn't standard on every trim level. And the Pilot gets some new colors. My favorite is not this, although I do love Sonic Gray. My Civic Si was Sonic Gray, I like that car. But they now have a new silver color called Solar Silver, and I think silver is making a comeback. Gluing us to the road on a 20-inch wheel, one of many options for the new Pilot, is a 255 section tire all around with plenty of sidewall. So despite being a 20, we still get all this meat. But let's get in and go for a drive. When we open the door, the first thing you're gonna notice are the new interior features. You've got the quilted ultra suede seats. Now the Elite was already a pretty quiet vehicle, and now there's even more insulation, so it's feeling more luxurious and quieter, but I still get to hear the J35 roar. Also, you get the bigger screen. I think this is a 12.3-inch screen. This is something that this car desperately needed, and now they've got it. You've also got a lovely volume control here, and HVAC controls, very simple, very easy. I do think that this screen, or whatever this is, it just looks a little faded. Like I keep feeling like I gotta peel something off of it to reveal it, but it's just, I don't know, I can't describe it. Wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, heated windshield, doesn't matter here, but back home, definitely useful to me. You love to hear it. We've also got heated steering wheel and new steering setup for this Pilot. They've actually improved the steering feel, which was already pretty darn good, but now this is even tighter. To engage our 10-speed automatic gearbox, we still have the NSX style shifter, which I kind of dig. You've also got paddle shifters here, but let's get out there and take it for a drive. I think that's the best thing about a Pilot, is it's still a Honda. Gotta put in quite a bit of lock here. And this engine is just so responsive. It's not a sports car, but it's directly connected to your foot. If you ask for something, you're getting it. Dare I say this feels more sporty than MDX Type S. Definitely not as fast. But I feel a little more connected to it. There's something about no turbos that just does it for me here. And the confidence to hustle a 3-row SUV, it's so good. Rock catchers. We'll be on the lookout for rocks. We've got some ground clearance, so hopefully if we see any rogue rocks, we'll be okay. Cars like this always catch me off guard. This is how I felt when I first drove the Honda HR-V in Washington, where I thought, really? I mean, it's not fast. There's a lot of things that you can say about that car where you say, well, I don't love the CVT. Maybe it's a little slow. But it handles. It's kind of beautiful. Downshift and hold our gear. I sincerely hope that power plants like this don't die. We didn't know what we had until it was gone, until we were looking down the barrel of 4-cylinder turbos and hybrid everything. So let's get out to some normal roads where you're going to use your Pilot, where you're actually going to drive and live with this thing. But how can I not? How can I not come here and drive this road when there's a Honda badge? Then we seal it up, and she's quiet. The improved steering on this makes a big difference. It's so easy, it's so intuitive, and this is something that, like, I genuinely believe the general public will never notice. So what I love about Honda is because they're always improving stuff, and sometimes they're improving stuff that the general public will likely never notice. Captain Crankshaft coming at me. All right, we'll see what he's got to say later. I like that they improve stuff that almost nobody is asking for or even noticing, and yet they're like, it could be better. It could be a little better. We can make this a little better. And now, this is just the most intuitive, easy thing to drive. We've absolutely decimated our fuel economy. However, on the way up here, I was getting around 20-21 mpgs, which is not bad. That's livable, especially for a vehicle of this size. I'd like to do a little more testing with this to see what it would do in my day-to-day, because man, the roads I've been driving up around here today have just not been fair to what's normal. There's been traffic, there's been construction zones, there's been really varied speeds, but still, if that's 20-21 mpgs, I'm good with that. Quiet and comfort-wise, this is a relaxing place to be, and this Bose audio system is fantastic. It's really good. I have genuinely enjoyed my time cruising up here. Before I started rolling the cameras, I was just rocking out to some music and enjoying it. Perfect California day for a New Englander. They're all cold here. They're all bundled up. This is practically summer. What I like about this new screen, the larger screen, isn't that it's larger, it's actually the shape. I like this sleeker, more trimmed, slim shape. It's the same kind of shape that's in my GX460. And the blockier square one, I think that looks a little outdated. It's what I have in my Civic Type R, and it's good, it does its job, but they are a little laggy, and the updated one has a faster processor, so they do run faster. But also, I just think that this shape makes more sense for the cabin. It looks more appropriate. Suspension-wise, this is a lovely road. This is a nice road, and obviously I appreciated the suspension in the corners on the fun dynamic road. But cruising around, it really does absorb most of the things, although I'm not so isolated from the world that I'm not aware of it. I can still feel the imperfections, and I want that. I want to know what's going on beneath me, but it's not even the slightest bit crashy. Got a test mule over here. Maybe something's wrong with it. If you're gonna be stuck in one-lane traffic in the middle of nowhere, you might as well be stuck behind a development vehicle with full camouflage. Let's jump on the freeway and really test out this new insulation. Because California roads kind of remind me of Michigan roads. They're pretty loud. sat right next to a semi, barely hear it. It's kind of nice. Keep the kids asleep on the long drives. I will admit, I think the mirrors are a little small. I kind of expected those to be larger. Maybe I'm used to my GX mirrors, which are like huge, but these are doing the job. You still get your blind spot monitoring, which works fantastically well. And I have a habit, watch this, I have a habit of putting my blinker on a little early. So if I go like this, you'll get the warning to let you know. But I wasn't gonna actually go. I was just indicating my intentions. I wasn't necessarily moving over just yet. But I'm very familiar with that noise because of my Civic Type R. Let's go catch that R129. Look at that. That is a proper California vehicle. Civic Type R. See, the GX, I love the GX. It is nothing like this. It is nothing like this. And it's why I like these vehicles individually, but I have a GX 460 and that drives like a truck, okay? And that's kind of what I like about it. There's a lot of character there. But that can get a little tiring, and it's one of the reasons why I like that I can go back and forth between that and my Civic Type R, because the Civic Type R is a tight little thing. And this is much more like a Civic than it is a GX. I'll put it that way. So let's talk about price. The Pilot starts at about $42,000 and it's base trim, and then works its way up to something like this, up to about $55,000. That's not crazy. It could be a $70,000 thing with too many bells and whistles that just supersedes the point. But what I like about Honda is they kind of give you what you need depending on whatever trim level you want. And it seemingly thinks I need to be braking because of that guardrail. This is a humble representation of what Honda is capable of. And I think that the Pilot is actually a really charming vehicle because it takes all the Honda-ness that we love and puts it into a big family vehicle that makes sense for a pretty wide range of people. It's never ostentatious, it's never over the top. Any luxury features you have feel appropriate, and it doesn't feel like you're trying to shove chrome and piano black and shiny things down my throat. It's just trying to be the best it can be and do it as a Honda. So it handles well, it's intuitive to drive, the steering feels fantastic. So I think that's gonna do it for me in the new 2026 facelifted Honda Pilot Elite. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I will see you in the next one. I forgot to do a startup sequence, so let's get our foot on the brake. We've got our push to start here. There we go. All right, let's get to driving.